So this bad boy right here, it's not the first time we've done a video about it, but we're gonna be doing a video about it with more modern titles than the last time we did a video about it, because apparently the only we should do videos about today are things you can actually buy, which is really old With no parts markup and only a $75 build fee, Redux gaming PCs are the obvious choice for gamers who demand the best without paying extra. With as little as a few clicks, you'll get a PC optimized for you and the games you play at a price that fits your budget, and all Redux PCs are backed by a 2-year warranty. To see all that Redux has to offer and to start configuring your next PC, head to the link in the description below. So this is an Intel Core 2 Quad Q9400. This came out in August of 2008. This is older than my daughter, who just turned 12. I mean, it's 13 years old. No, that's how old it is. But for the GPU, last time we paired it with an RX 570, which this time we went ahead and took that out and went back even farther, and I put in a GTX 950. It's an EVGA for the Win model. So slightly overclocked type version. It's got 800 megahertz DDR2 in there. How much of it? I don't know. I think it's 8 gigs. We'll check in a second. It took some time just to get the system up and running because there were some updates that needed to happen and some downloads, and we realized it was actually faster to download it on another computer than bring it in here because this NIC is going bad on here as well. So let's hope we retain internet connectivity because it doesn't have USB 3.0, which means my external NIC card thing I have won't work. And we can't use any of our internal cards because they're all 4X and these only have 2X. Or 1X, I mean. So we can't even use any of our stuff. So here we go. As for the power supply and stuff, it's all the same stuff we had there last time. So it's the Antec 650 continuous power, because you know, the intermittent power version just gives a pretty bad experience if you ask me. It even has a hard drive in here, which I threw in there for stuff, but right now we're running everything in here off of SSDs. So none of the slowdowns and whatnot are going to be because of the storage solution. It's going to be because of the much slower SATA configuration versus what you're used to now with SATA. It's not SATA 6 gigabit per second. No, it's not. And because really, to be honest, the processor is just slow. It's a 2.66 gigahertz 4-core. No hyperthreading, it's just 4 cores. Let's just say I started to realize after using this again how far we've actually come. So let's go ahead and just get into it. So let's talk about some of the challenges we're gonna probably face first and foremost. This is DDR2 and it's got 4 gigabytes of memory. Most games these days are recommending at least 8 and some are recommending 16. Obviously, we're gonna be looking for the low settings as best we can, not just because of our GPU limitation, because any title that uses the CPU is now gonna have a huge CPU bottleneck, even with the GTX 950 in there. The other problem obviously being the GTX 950. 2 gigabytes of memory, yeah, like I thought. So, yeah. Titles, the same titles we ran in the last video, which was Rocket League, Doom Eternal, and Rally 2.0. But in this one, we also have Counter-Strike Global Offensive in here. I do remember in the last video we used this system. We did Left 4 Dead 2, which wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. So let's just go ahead and this is some Rocket League. You see what I did there? Oh man, first time setup. This is gonna take a minute. Now, one thing you've got to keep in mind is a system this old. I'm not recommending that you go out and buy really old stuff like this. I mean, maybe if you're wanting to build a system for your kid to tinker around on, and maybe you just want to tinker, you could potentially be up and running. Also too, the reason why you just saw first time setup on here showing up, this is not responding. This is gonna take a minute. It's because I wanted this system to be completely organic. I want you guys to see what we're experiencing as we experience it. So you can see on the first time setup, it's taking a while. These cores, well, these are 45 nanometer. Let that sink in. It's a 45 nanometer process. We're complaining about Intel's 14 plus. But yeah, it really starts to become obvious just how slow this CPU is. Even at 2.66 gigahertz is not fast. Tried to overclock it to 3, it wasn't having it. Don't forget the memory, it's also extremely slow at 800 megahertz. In fact, it does have an extreme setting of 900 megahertz, but when I tried to activate that, it also wouldn't boot. Oh man, the transition right there was so... All right, let's start with settings. We are not gonna be able to do any crazy overall high performance there. We'll just do high performance settings there. Okay, and then maybe we'll go FXAA low. It's going to smooth out the frame rate, obviously, in the video to 30 FPS. Oh, you know what though? It's actually not that bad. Yeah, so far I'm looking for stutters and stuff, and it's not too bad. So one thing you want to consider too is if you're trying to get the FPS higher, is that's going to be putting Get in there. Oh, it's gonna be putting extra stress. Damn! High FPS puts more strain on the CPU. And if we're having a problem with our CPU already, then going with more FPS is going to obviously add a bigger issue there. It feels a little more stuttery in here. Damn. Oh.
Yeah, you're getting CPU spikes into the 20 millisecond.
Yeah, I know, and I'm feeling it too. But that doesn't really matter.
Oh, that was a GPU spike, actually.
I mean, I'm still able to play, so. But it gets juddery, like micro stuttery, especially on the kickoff. There's a lot more effects right now, and I think since it's now having to calculate another player, I like how I just left it.
Yeah, the frame timing.
It's really bad.
They're all just like Christmas treeing.
Yeah. Yeah, get in there. Boop. I mean, it's not hurting me, but okay, it is hurting me a little bit, but I'm playing way below my rank, so I think I can make up for it. Oh, right in my head. I don't know where he was going, but okay. 5-1 so far, and I'm on a 13-year-old computer with like a frame jittery mess. Get in there. Hey, we forced a forfeit with an old ass computer and the first time trying to play on it. Okay, proof you can play Rocket League on this computer. Right as we left the game, it blue screened. If it had done that during the match, that would have sucked. Page fault in non-paged area, that's memory.
I think those sticks are getting old. Can you even buy new DDR2?
Not for cheap. Okay. We don't have any DDR2 in there. DDR3, I have a few sticks of it hanging around for just such an occasion, and this is too old for it. All right, here we go. We're gonna play some Doom Eternal. First time setup again. Like I said, I wanted all of this to be on camera. You guys see it as we experience it. I expect Doom Eternal to actually do pretty good. I expect this to be okay. I expect the graphics card to be a little bit more like, than the CPU, but it won't launch. I think we might be so far underneath the specs that we can't launch the game. See, watch, it's launching. Stops thinking, and then that will go back to play.
Is this our first victim?
Yep. Okay, we can't play Doom Eternal. Minimum is 64-bit processor and operating system. Okay, a Core i5 3.3 gigahertz or better. Doesn't say which one though, right? Or AMD 8 gigabytes of RAM. So that's probably why we can't load it. Okay, so does that mean Dirt Rally? Yeah, VR, let's do it. You want to throw up? I have to assume if Doom Eternal won't load, Dirt Rally might just try to load and just crash. What? Okay, sure.
Oh my god, this loading time.
I don't think I've ever seen it scroll that many times through the list.
It's told us our start time like 3 times. There it is.
Okay, well, I mean, the FPS is just...
How'd that go again?
I mean, it's playing though. Okay, the settings are really low though, huh? Like, everything just looks fuzzy. I wanna see if I can fix that. I bet you the graphics are set to, yep, 1600 by 900.
Oh, geez.
There. Okay, well. Bobby! Dude, it's hanging out around 60 FPS though. Okay, I'm kind of impressed that this computer is playing Dirt Rally 2.0. We'll go this way. The pole! Okay, I meant to do that. Yeah, look at that. This game is pretty decently optimized. The CPU is only a little more than half utilized. I'm actually really impressed. I'm starting to feel less bad for those people that are like, help me, I'm on an old blah, blah, blah. Bobby. Samir, you're breaking the car.
Sammy, you will wreck the car. Medium left, medium left.
Aww. It was fun while it lasted. Did just a game crash? Yeah, just a game. Okay, the system didn't hang. No, don't send the report. I don't want to embarrass ourselves. All right, so here's our video settings. We're gonna go full screen, first. I don't like windowed full screen. Okay, everything's kind of auto high, texture streaming disabled, whatever. Auto very high, 8x MSAA. We are 1080p, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump that down to like 2. Okay, fine, let's just see how this does with its auto settings. Oh, and then advanced. I suck at CSGO, so go ahead and make fun of me, I don't care. You can't hurt my feelings, okay? You can't. Doesn't mean try either. Oh God. Oh God.
You lost your overlay too, weirdly.
Aw. Oh God. Oh jeez. I'm an OG op whore. I want me ducked. Okay, well, hey, CSGO is playable. Little bit stuttery for a second. I mean, the overlay wasn't working. We'll kind of see here what the FPS was actually showing up as. Yeah, it's only like it goes between like 70 and 30 FPS. Like in some of the gunfights, it dropped down to yellow, which is 30. Yeah, it's all over the place. Oh no, it just crashed.
Oh wow, it actually broke it.
All right. I mean, the performance you guys saw was on high. If you drop the settings and try and balance between CPU and GPU load, you could probably get a decent experience. Keep in mind, if you're gonna play in a system this old, you don't necessarily want to target the highest FPS possible for the GPU, because then that's going to put extra load on a CPU. And obviously a CPU that's this old is having a hard time playing some of these. Look, even though CSGO is old, the game has evolved. It has added textures, it has added features that did not exist back when the game was new. The game has evolved with the tech. Maybe not as fast as modern titles, but it has definitely changed. Old games like World of Warcraft, which are older than this hardware, is not the same World of Warcraft it was in 2004 or 6 or whatever it was when it actually launched. It has progressed as well. They've added features, they've upgraded the engine to take advantage of newer hardware, which means the older hardware or period correct hardware gets left behind when it comes to those particular technologies. So keep in mind, if you're trying to use a system like this, you need to find the medium balance between the most FPS you can get away with by adjusting your graphics settings without overloading your CPU. The fact that it was even able to handle like 100 FPS in CSGO for a bit there, it's actually kind of impressive. Now, sure, CSGO is one of those titles people are like, I want 400 FPS or go home. That's specifically because of the way that the input to frame rate works. But if you're just playing casual like I was and want to go out there and screw around, it can be done. Do I recommend going out and buying this system? No, not even for, okay, maybe if you can get it for like $100. Then maybe it's fine, you can play around with something if you're waiting in the meantime. But you guys have asked us to do some videos on really old hardware, and there you go. If you want to know why we're not using any of the more modern titles, going, Jay, why aren't you using the latest AAA titles? It's because, like you saw with Doom Eternal, it can't. It can't even load it. So there you go. That RTX, geez. The GTX 950 is not a great graphics card, but it's better than literally having nothing sitting in there, or any iGPU pretty much at this point. I would take a GTX 950 over an AMD APU if you want to know the truth. But, you know, if you can get one of these in the meantime and throw it in your system sitting there waiting for any modern graphics card and still play, and you can get that for like, I don't know, let me see how much GTX 950s are going for here real quick, because that's one of those things where I have to imagine they're not going to be that expensive. Given the fact that I showed you, you could get a GTX 980, which was shocked both Phil and I at how good it still is today. For $200, I have to imagine a GTX 950 isn't going to be ridiculous. Yeah, $79, $57 for the SSC, which is a higher end model than this one. $78, $77, $61. Okay, yeah, see, there you go, less than $100. So there you go, guys. Maybe we'll continue to do hardware reviews right now of lower end stuff. The problem is like even getting lower end stuff is really difficult today, but we got to continue making content because it's what we do. And this is where we really need your guys' help to give us some ideas of what you want us to, or want us to do videos about. Because right now, everyone's just depressed and we're trying to educate and still have some fun without dangling in your face like, look at all this stuff you can't get, because no one likes that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Sound off down below what kind of stuff you want us to do in these videos where we explore old hardware, and we'll do what we can to accommodate it. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.